Okay, so today we're going to be doing a bookshelf tour. This video is being filmed in January of 2021. So if you're clicking on this at another date and there's not a book on my shelf, it's because it hasn't been read yet. I don't keep every book that I read. So this isn't every book I've ever talked about on my channel. This is pretty much all the books that I read and enjoyed enough that I want to keep them on my shelves. There is no rhyme or reason to this organization other than my favorite books are outward facing. You can see their covers. But other than that, I just put books on shelves. Maybe I'll have better organization next time. And if you've ever caught glimpses of the tops of my shelves, I guess I'll go ahead and do a quick here's basically what's up here, which you can't really see that well. These are all the books that are at the top of my TBR, the books that I want to get to really, really soon, so I guess I'll show you that too. But if you want to see the books that I haven't read yet, the books that I'm interested in reading soon, that's not this video. I'll link a video that I did a while ago showing all the books on my physical TBR. It's a little bit outdated. I have more books now, but it's there too. I forgot one more thing I want to add is now that I am not doing wrap-ups and I'm doing dedicated reviews for every single book that I read, as well as now that I'm not using Goodreads, if you need another resource to be able to try to find something that I've read or to see how I felt about a certain book that you see on this tour, I will have linked a spreadsheet that my friend Lynn put together and is maintaining for me because, oh my goodness, she's an organizational genius. So that'll be linked and you can look at a document full of books that I read in 2020 and 2021. It will be kept up in 2021 and it'll link you to videos, reviews of these books. That is to include books that only made it to a wrap-up video so that you can find that quick review really easily. On to the books. Okay, the first shelf is over my left shoulder, probably the most visible shelf. We have Best Served Cold, The Blade Itself, Before They Are Hanged, and The Last Argument of Kings. This is the first Law trilogy. The Lives of Locke Lamora, Red Seas Under Red Skies, and The Republic of Thieves. These are the first three in the Gentleman Bastard series. Mistborn, The Well of Ascension, and The Hero of Ages, the Mistborn trilogy. The Way of Kings, Words of Radiance, Oathbringer, and Rhythm of War, the Stormlight Archive. This shelf is mostly classics, but also there's still no rhyme or reason here. This is the Gentleman Bastard series again, just in a really pretty edition that my friend gifted to me. Little Women, Good Wives, Little Men, and Joe's Boys. This is the Juniper edition of the Little Women set. Mansfield Park, Northanger Abbey, Emma, Pride and Prejudice, Sense and Sensibility, Persuasion, and Sanditon? I just realized I don't know how to pronounce that. This is my Jane Austen set, again, Juniper editions. I actually can't find what edition this is called. It just says illustrated with interactive elements. And this is my leather-bound edition of Mistborn gifted to me by a subscriber. And on this shelf we have more fantasy plus a lot of hard-hitting contemporary / literary fiction. We have The Vanishing Half, My Dark Vanessa, The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse, and Every Morning the Way Home Gets Longer and Longer, The Deal of a Lifetime, Things My Son Needs to Know About the World, My Grandmother Asked Me to Tell You She's Sorry, Beartown, Us Against You, and Anxious People. These are all the Frederick Bachman books that I've read so far. These are almost all of my Lord of the Rings books. I have The Silmarillion, The Hobbit, the 50th anniversary edition of Lord of the Rings, another edition of Lord of the Rings, an Atlas of Tolkien, and a Dictionary of Tolkien, both of which are illustrated and beautiful. This shelf is mostly sci-fi and also some more classics. So quickly, here's just a run through of a bunch of editions of Peter Pan. When my parents realized how much I loved it, they decided to go hog wild one Christmas and bought me as many editions as they could find, which was really sweet of them. Steelheart, The Little Mermaid, and The Beauty and the Beast, Jurassic Park, Skyward, Children of Time, Dune, All Systems Red, This Is How You Lose the Time War, and Timeline. This shelf is all classic, so at least I have some consistency. This is my Sherlock Holmes box set, The Complete Fiction of H.P. Lovecraft, Rebecca, Oliver Twist, Little Women, The Great Gatsby, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, and Frankenstein. These are all Paper Mill Press edition. The Picture of Dorian Gray, The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, The complete novels of Jane Austen. This was a gift before my parents knew that I already bought that Juniper set. Persuasion, another gift. My Cousin Rachel. When We Were Young, Now We Are Six, The House at Pooh Corner, Winnie the Pooh, and then another copy of Winnie the Pooh. Another shelf full of all classics. Wuthering Heights, To Kill a Mockingbird, North and South, The Outsiders, I Capture the Castle, Pride and Prejudice, again, a friend sent me this edition, Mary Poppins, Julie's Wolfpack, The Turn of the Screw, Oliver Twist, again, Lord of the Flies, The Giver, Gathering Blue, Messenger, and Son, Rebecca, an edition that a subscriber sent me, Tess of D'Urbervilles, Jane Eyre, Robin Hood, The Essential Tales and Poems of Edgar Allan Poe, The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, Grimm's Complete Fairy Tales, and The Count of Monte Cristo. This shelf is all fantasy. The Sleeper and the Spindle, Jade City, The Name of the Wind and The Wise Man's Fear, The Rage of Dragons and The Fires of Vengeance, all 14 books in the Wheel of Time series, and the Avatar graphic novels, though one is missing because I'm currently reading it at the time that I filmed this. And now we get to the shelves that are just a hodgepodge of genres, no rhyme or reason. Neverwhere, Norse Mythology, Running into Happiness, The Girl with Seven Names, Love and Gelato, I've Got Your Number, Red Rising, Pretty Little Wife, Down Among the Sticks and Bones, An Unkindness of Magicians, Elantris, Little Secrets, One to Watch, The 13th Tale, Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief, The Sea of Monsters, The Titan's Curse, The Battle of the Labyrinth, and The Last Olympian, which I technically haven't read all 5 at this point, but I kept the set together. Eragon, Eldest, Inheritance, and Berzinger. This is my set from when I was a kid, so it's kind of rough. Pet Cemetery, Who Do You Say That I Am? Look at You Girl. Another hodgepodge shelf, no rhyme or reason. The Ocean at the End of the Lane, Foundry Side, another edition of Peter Pan, I don't know why it's here. Dark Matter, Shadow Divers, On Luna Time, In Light of Luna, and Dear Luna. Letters to the Lost, Just Ella, Palace of Mirrors, and Palace of Lies. This is a companion set, if you guys didn't know that Just Ella was part of a series. Finding Audrey, A Quiet Kind of Thunder, She Came to Slay, All the Missing Girls, 11/22/63, An Absolutely Remarkable Thing, Mexican Gothic, In a Holidays, Volumes 1 through 12 of One Piece, Volumes 1, 2, and 3 of 20th Century Boys, Volumes 7 through 12 of Full Metal Alchemist. I read the first several volumes through my library, but then they had some gaps in their collection, so I had to buy some. And The Nightingale. I do have some shelves under these, but those are mostly books that I'm keeping for my kids one day, so it's less interesting. But here's a full view of the shelves that I sit in front of in all of my filming. I don't know how interesting this is, but I hope you enjoyed the video. On to past Murphy. So there you go. That's a tour of all the books that I own and have kept and read. Be sure to chat with me more about it in the comments. I post videos every Tuesday through Friday. I'll see you guys again soon. Bye.